안녕하세요! Are you planning to travel to Korea soon? Watch this video because I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know. The very first thing you should do before even coming here is to download Naver Maps. 99% of Koreans prefer Naver Maps than Google Maps. It is a lot more Korea friendly and it'll have lots more information for you. You can search specific routes, how to exchange from a bus to subway, and even how much a taxi will cost to get to a certain place. And if you're a planner, make sure to star all the places that you want to go before coming here so that it is very straightforward to you when you're in Korea. Now, if you're in Korea, one of the first things you should do is find a convenience store to buy a T-money card. A T-money card is a transportation card that helps you get on all forms of public transportation. So you can charge it only with cash and you can buy it at a convenience store or in any subway stations. So once you have it, you can just scan it when you get on a taxi, bus, or subway. Without it, it'll be hard because sometimes cash is inconvenient to use for public transportation. You might hold up the line, it might take too long to buy a separate ticket with your cash, so make sure to buy a T-money for your convenience. And they will charge you differently depending on where you go, how long you go, what type of transportation you take, so make sure you always check how much money you have left. Next, if you're planning to travel around in public transportation, you must avoid the rush hours of Korea. So for example, from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. in the mornings, and then 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. in the evening are very heavy on traffic and crowd. So on subways, you might feel squished, you won't have your personal space, and on buses, you might have to stand and not have a place to hold. And on taxis, you may take a lot longer than your expected time. Of course, some routes and some subway lines are a lot more crowded than others, so it won't always be the case. And if it's inevitable that you have to travel at these hours, just be mindful and careful. You will be pushed around a little bit. If you're lactose intolerant and need an alternative option for milk, make sure you ask if they have that option for you before you order at a cafe. In Korea, surprisingly, it is not so common for cafes to have milk alternatives. So if you're in need of that, make sure to ask. In Korea, you're not allowed to eat or drink in public transportation. So I'll give you some examples. If you are holding a takeout coffee, you cannot bring that into public transportation. If you're holding street food, you're not allowed to take that on. However, if it's well packaged or a capped bottle, or you're bringing in ingredients in a bag just for the purpose of carrying it somewhere, that is allowed. So just make sure you don't eat or drink on public transportation. Also, one thing to note is that on the streets of South Korea, trash cans are relatively rare. So make sure to go find a subway station. They will always have a trash can and a recycling bin. So if you cannot find a trash can, try the subway stations. It's important to know the difference between different taxis. The black taxis are more expensive and luxurious. Regular taxis are a lot more affordable and the most common. If you're traveling in a big group or you have lots of luggages or belongings, you can call a venti taxi. They will charge you more, but they are more spacious and have more room for people and belongings. One app that I recommend for taxis is the Kakao Taxi app. You can change settings to English. It'll give you an estimate for price and time, and it'll even also give you an option for taxi type selection. So that might be useful for you. When in Korea, you will run into an occasion where you need a convenience store. Convenience stores are very common: GS25, eMart24, 7-Eleven, CU, and so on. So they're very easy to find when in need of a snack, food, alcohol, cups, glue, scissors, stockings, and even sanitary items for women. So if you're in need of anything, for example a Band-Aid, just run to a convenience store. They will most likely have something for you. A similar alternative is Daiso, however they are less common, except they have a lot more stuff for you at a very affordable price. So if you're in Korea, go visit a Daiso and you might run into things that you didn't know you needed. This one is for solo travelers. If you're traveling alone in Korea, you might oftentimes find that restaurants don't sell a single portion food. Some examples of this is Korean barbecue or stir-fried chicken. Usually it's the type of food that have one single grill for an entire table where they have to cook everything together in a single pot. So if you want to eat at these restaurants, oftentimes they'll require you to order 2 portions or just tell you, oh, we don't do a single portion. So just be aware of this and make sure the dish you want to eat is single portion friendly. One last thing that many foreigners find challenging when they travel to Korea is that you have to actively call for the attention of your server at a restaurant. So oftentimes you'll have to say 여기요 or 저기요 to catch their attention. They don't come around to you unless you ask for them. So if you need anything, don't be shy. It is so normal in Korea to say 저기요. Just be confident. And also, there is no tipping culture in Korea, so anywhere you eat or drink, you don't have to pay tip. So these were some of the most important things that you have to know prior to traveling to Korea. I hope it was useful and I hope you have the best time in Korea. If you have any other questions that you would like to know about Korea or anything that I talked about that still confuses you, feel free to leave it in the comments and I'll try my best to answer everything. In my descriptions, I'll link some videos that will be useful for your travel as well. I'll see you next time. Happy travels!